Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kevin Crouch with Ellis County Weather here in the Jimmy Porch Real Estate Weather Center, and we have a very suddenly developing situation as we were not expecting today to be the kind of severe weather event that we were going to be really dealing with this kind of thing today. But right now in the Itasca area, just north of Itasca, we have an area of rotation here, and on the velocity view you can see here, and of course off to the south of Grandview, north of Itasca, just past I-35 west, we currently have a circulation, radar indicated circulation right now that does look like it could be producing a tornado. It's very capable of that. My understanding at this point is that we do not have a confirmed tornado on the ground. I don't believe that we have any kind of visual confirmation of this. Of course, everything with all of the rain that we've been seeing, that was the primary concern today. But excuse me, I really wasn't expecting anything in regard to this kind of rotation. But just as I started to actually look at this cell to the southwest, I was watching to see actually when a break in the rain was coming, and then I noticed this. Once I took a look at it, a warning was issued. So this happened very, very quickly. Let me put this into motion so you can see this here. As you can see, this kind of whipped up very quickly. And you can see a little bit of a couplet here right around the Itasca area. So this surprising supercell thunderstorm here has not really been too terribly intense over the past few minutes, but it's just not... definitely not what I was expecting to see out of this whole system here. So I'm going to wait and see if Matt might have any information from storm spotters. I'm not really sure what the situation is on the ground. We don't have any confirmation at this point. Of course, this does not include Ellis County at this moment, but this circulation, as you can see, will be moving to the northeast, probably towards the Maypearl area. And so I'm sure storm spotters are caught by surprise on this as well. But if we take a look, this will be moving towards the Maypearl area. So if you are in the Maypearl area, please take shelter now. I would ask that you please take shelter now and, be prepared to deal with this storm over the next few minutes. This warning here itself, let me get the for about 20 minutes, so about another 20 minutes, so about 1:45, that this will be out of our area. And I know a lot of people are asking for more volume, so let me see if I can adjust it here. Hopefully that works. Hadn't had much chance to prepare here. I wasn't expecting to go live until probably 7 o'clock or so this evening. So this is a little bit of a unique situation that we're dealing with right now, but you do see a very well-defined hook here on the left, and then on the right, of course, you see this this kind of couplet that has developed. So if you're in the Maypearl Thorston area, and this could take the same track as the circulation that we had about, a couple weeks ago, where we had that tornado, unfortunately, that moved through the southern Waxahachie and Forreston area. So that is kind of the issue right now. This could end up being a very brief spin up, a very brief rotation. And so if you see this red box, that is the polygon, and you see the shirt I'm wearing today. That polygon is where that tornado warning is right now. So I'm going to continue to check different sources of information here. This is all developed here in the last few minutes. It's this is definitely not what was really expected today. All of the okay, so it looks like this storm may have a history of producing tornadoes in central Texas. And again, I've not been watching this storm very closely just because I was watching some of the flooding issues, which is the primary concern that we've had. And as I started to see this cell to the southwest, I thought, oh man, that thing's kind of looking a little special. And then that's when that warning was actually issued. So Not definitely not the severe weather that we expected today. This is not, in fact, for today. We're only under a marginal risk of severe weather, but this just shows how very quickly situations like this can change. And so, this is why we all need to be weather aware as time goes on, watching very, very closely to see what might occur. So, just to zoom in a little more and give you a little more perspective, here is the area of rotation, and it does look like it's a pretty broad area of rotation. I don't see a very tight couplet at this moment. Possibly a little bit, if anything, right in here. If there is a specific center of the rotation, that might be it, just there in the middle of that polygon. But let me put this into motion again so you can see where this is going. So this is moving kind of northeast here, so that will be entering parts of Ellis County here fairly soon. Again, I will say that this circulation appears to be kind of falling apart a little bit, so it's not as intense, and the storm itself kind of just briefly had a little bit of a hail core there, but it does look like this part of the storm is going to be falling apart in the next few minutes, so we shouldn't be looking at anything too terribly major over the next few minutes. But I'm going to continue to watch this, and we're going to continue to monitor any source of information that we may have. The radio, the storm spotters, I'm sure, are not out in force at this point. So, but we're going to have to just continue to listen for anything that they might provide. And I was trying to, I've actually possibly I've got some foot pain going on, possibly a foot injury that's I've got to deal with. So I was trying to rest that as well. But Mother Nature doesn't like for me to rest much, as evidenced here. When I try to kick back and take a breather, she keeps me working. So we'll stay live, and watch this storm as it continues to move off to the northeast. Again, if you're in the Maypearl area, that's primarily the area of concern I have right now for where this storm is going to be heading. And so please continue to watch this very closely. And I'm still a little bit concerned about the possibility we could be seeing a little bit of a couplet developing here again. And you can see the bright green here is where the strongest winds are. So the rotation overall looks fairly broad, but right in this area, it does seem like we could be seeing a little bit of a couplet trying to develop there. That could be the rotation tightening as we speak. But if you notice that where this is, that's actually behind some of the rotation. So that's good news and bad news. The good news is that it could be cutting off some of that rotation from that inflow. Sometimes that's going to cut off and choke that rotation. The bad news is that's going to be rain wrapped. And so that means that if there is a tornado at least trying to develop, or a tornado possibly on the ground, that you're not going to be able to see it very well. So that's primarily kind of what we're looking at this very moment. And so I know that I was talking to someone earlier today, just telling them today that the tornado threat was pretty low. But unfortunately, that is not to be. And I picked up my phone to look at the notification and saw that it said tornado warning. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. But then I actually checked, and it turns out, that it was in fact a tornado warning in our area. So it said tornado warning Itasca, and I thought, what in the world is going on? Now, for everyone that is having volume issues, what I want you to do is if you're watching on Facebook, wrap up the stream, go over to YouTube, because Facebook does not produce very good quality streams, but the YouTube stream should be much better quality. So I think that's going to be the better option for you, is to go over to the YouTube stream and actually watch there. So thank you, Matt, for posting that link. That will be great. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and let me just see. Okay, and I'm getting some reports, excuse me, from the Midlothian Mansfield area, saying the visibility is really bad. That's part of my concern here, because the visibility could be causing a major, major issue when it comes to trying to see if there's a tornado on the ground or tornado developing. There could be quite a bit of reduced visibility here as anyone might try to get an idea of what's happening. Let's get a broader view overall of what is happening in the area. Of course, we have right now, let's do just a regular view here. We have the flash flood watch rather for our area for the next few days through Wednesday morning. And so, but when we zoom in here, we have this tornado warning going on, and you can see this rotation here very clear that does appear to be kind of disorganizing itself. So we could be seeing that again. We could be seeing the rotation kind of getting choked off. So we could be putting up with an improving situation right just this moment. And so I do think that, we may be dealing with a storm that swelled up. And when it swelled up, we had the rotation. And then now that it has, hopefully it's kind of hit its prime. Hopefully that rotation will disorganize, kind of fall apart, and we'll go from there. I'm going to continue to check some more views here. Yeah, I'm continuing to watch this couplet here, this area right in here. And again, this area is going to be rain wrapped. This is actually Reed Timmer, the storm chaser, very famous storm chaser, actually just mentioned this area as well. And so he and I are really thinking the same thing. So looks like we could very well have a tornado on the ground heading towards the Maypearl area, just to the east of Grandview. Looks like we're getting more of a northerly motion here out of this. So if you watch, this is just about to move into far southeastern Johnson County, far southwestern Ellis County, really western Ellis County. And you can see that let me just show you kind of here, the inflow winds are definitely making it into this part of the storm, whether there's rain or not. You can see those very strong winds with that bright green. And then the other winds, of course, in that area, and that's where you have your rotation. So we're going to continue to watch this. I don't know if a tornado warning will be issued, possibly including parts of Ellis and Johnson counties. We're going to have to wait and see. Several people are saying that they're getting volume issues. I'm not really sure what could be contributing to that. Everything is pretty much the same, but it looks like we're getting volume issues across both platforms. So not sure what could be going on with that, but we'll try to make whatever adjustments we can so that you all can stay informed. But primarily right now, if you are in this area, if you are in the areas between really from Grandview on east, especially in the Maypearl area, you need to be taking shelter right now. Don't worry about if you're in this polygon, because really, to be honest with you, it's about to leave this polygon and move into, again, far southeastern Johnson County, western Ellis County. So that's what we're dealing with. This area here, again, where you see these green and red together, that's the primary concern. That's what we're worried about right now. It doesn't look like we have too big a hail threat with this storm. We did a few minutes ago. There did appear to be a little bit of a hail core developing. And so we could very well... Hold on, I'm getting some information here. Okay. Well, I thought that was some information, but nothing really too helpful. And for those that are just joining us, there is an ongoing tornado warning that is in this polygon you see here. And the area of concern really is on the very top of this polygon. That's the area that we're watching right now. In fact, it's about to leave that polygon area. It does not look like we've had a new tornado warning issued quite yet for areas to the north of it, but we will have to wait and see. We continue to watch this particular area here just to the east of Grandview for where we could be watching rotation, and we could have a little bit of a secondary rotation down just to the south of it. So these two areas where you have the red, are really what I'm going to be paying the most attention to. So that's kind of where we're at now. I don't have a tornado warning graphic up right now because we are not seeing a tornado warning specifically for Ellis County. At least not yet. We will have to wait and see what actually happens in the next few minutes. But I think that we could be looking at this and here and realistically, what could be going on is what we've been dealing with and what we dealt with the night of the tornado that moved through southern Waxahachie is that the first rotation kind of moved back towards the back of the storm, got choked off, and then we had a new rotation. That looks like what could be going on right just this moment, because this rotation, the initial circulation, is, again, that's moving to the back side of the storm here, and then looks like we could have a new circulation developing just to the south of it. So let me put this in motion. I know there's a lot of people just joining in that want to see where this is going. And Ben Yeager asking to try to go wide every now and then. We have been doing that. Sorry, you're just jumping in and haven't seen that yet, but we need to stay focused on where the threat is the largest. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do for the next few minutes. And now we do have the tornado warning that does include parts of Ellis County. Now, what I want you to understand is this does include Maypearl. So that's going to be the area that we're mostly concerned about right now. So if you're in the Maypearl area, you need to be taking shelter immediately, right now. So there is a tornado warning now for Ellis County. We will see that on the screen here very, very shortly. And that tornado warning is until 2:15. So that's 2:15. So that's about, it's going to be about 35 minutes or so, 37 minutes from now. We will see that come up on the screen very shortly. Sometimes it takes a minute for RadarScope to get updated with those new polygons. I got to draw them up there. But we will see that very shortly. And I do think that we are going to be looking now at this rotation, just to the south of it. Originally, we had this area here that is just to the east of Grandview, but that's doing what the first rotation did the Monday that we had the tornado in southern Waxahachie, where that first circulation is moving off to the side and kind of losing strength, but winds are increasing, and we're getting a bit of a couplet right here. So I think this is what we're going to be dealing with, and that's going to be moving towards the Maypearl area, possibly Waxahachie, in the next few minutes. So this is what we're going to focus on here in the next few minutes. And if you're not on screen, if your area is not on screen right now, I know a lot of people in eastern Ellis County want to know what's going on. If your town is not on the screen, then you're not in the immediate area that needs to be concerned here. So don't worry about that. If you're in the Maypearl area, even if you're in the Waxahachie area, I would say go ahead and let's go ahead and here's that new polygon. So here's this new area for the warning. So you can see that the Maypearl area definitely included areas west of Waxahachie, and south of Venus are as well. So please be sure to watch this area and take cover if you can, if you're in this polygon. Areas from Midlothian to Waxahachie need to be watching this to see if this rotation continues to intensify as it gets towards your area. And really, right now, the way I'll set it up for you guys is that Maypearl is in the immediate danger of this circulation. But you guys in Waxahachie and Midlothian need to be watching this as well, just in case this rotation does maintain itself long enough to move into your area. This supercell thunderstorm is moving in as we have been watching a flood threat all day. I've been talking about the flood issues we were going to have, been investigating to see just how bad that may get over the next few minutes, or really over the next few days, because I know I've already got flooding in my house, and we're not anywhere near done what we're going to be seeing for the next few days. And this may very well push away or push back some coverage. We have that weekday outlook coming out later today. It's going to be the same story for really every day this week, but we want to make sure that this is up front and most important. So this is going to be our primary focus for the day, is this supercell thunderstorm. And again, as you know, we were not looking at any kind of major severe weather out of this system. It was not part of the expectation. Now, definitely to our west, but not for this area. But again, that shows how unpredictable Texas weather can ultimately be. We can see a tornado warning come out of relative nothing. So that's what we're going to be putting up with over the next few minutes, is this rotation. And it looks like they made this wide enough to accommodate this first circulation, which is going to be moving up towards almost the Midlothian area. And then this is going to be moving more towards the Maypearl area, I believe. And so that's really what we need to be watching for. If you're not in this polygon, you are not in the immediate danger of this storm. So, talking about Forest and Italy further south, that's not an area of concern. But if you are further to the north in the Waxahachie, Midlothian, Venus areas, you need to be taking shelter right now, because that's where we're watching, especially, like I said, in this polygon. That's what we need to be paying attention to. Areas further off to the east really don't need to be worried about this issue right now. So, and what I'm seeing, the consensus really is that we are seeing these two areas of rotation. So we are seeing these two areas of circulation right now. And let's actually read a little bit more up on this tornado warning right now from the National Weather Service. And severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Grandview. And radar indicated rotation at this time. We do not currently have ground confirmation of a tornado in this area, but we're looking at definitely radar indicated rotation at this time. Very, very clear evidence of circulation. There's not any photos or anything coming in of anything in particular. And like I said, a lot of this is going to be rain wrapped. Visibility is really difficult right now. It's really hard to see overall. So I don't expect that we'll be seeing a whole lot, getting a whole lot of visual confirmation of anything. Let me just try to. I'm checking Messenger. Okay, and I'm just checking. I'm checking some sources right now to figure out what all is going on, and there's pretty much everyone's saying about the same thing. Okay, and Shannon, you're saying North Texas guys have just announced confirmation of it on the ground. I'm not sure who the North Texas guys are or who you're referring to, but if you can get something on that or get me a link to that, that would be great. I try to get a little more confirmation and kind of consensus on what's going on, especially in situations like this where there's not really any kind of confirmation that we can get visually because of all the limited visibility out there right now with all the rain that's falling. Let's put this into motion again so you can kind of... and Ed, I cannot update the radar. I do not have that power, unfortunately. Now, what I will say is we just had a radar update. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys I am very concerned about the Maypearl area. I'm using the word concern, so you need to listen to me here. This area right in here... Let me try that again. Oh, come on, work. Right in here, you see this very bright green right towards the Maypearl area. So this rotation is intensifying here, and we do have that couplet developing. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we really probably have a unconfirmed tornado on the ground in Maypearl. If we don't have a tornado yet, then I'm pretty sure we're going to have one rather shortly, because this circulation continues to intensify. So radar does appear to be indicating a tornado at this point. Let's actually take a closer look. And I want to try a couple of things here just to see if we can get a better view. Okay, so I don't, right at this moment on the correlation coefficient, a lot of times that's going to allow us to see where a tornado might be taking place. And I'm not immediately seeing anything on correlation coefficient view that would make me think that. A lot of the time what you're going to see is an area where there is the blue, okay, the pink you see here is where generally going to be rain, that sort of thing. But if there's blue inside of the, and don't pay attention to this area here, but if they're right where the circulation is, right in here, if we start to see the blue, that's going to be moving upward, right? So the pink is moving downward. That's where the rain is. If we see moving upward, that means that we have damage and debris flying around. So we'll have to watch very clearly for a possible sign on that. So I'm going to continue to, I'm going to hold the correlation coefficient up, and let's actually, I don't know what I can put down on the other side that's really going to help that I really want to see. So this bottom right corner really is probably just not going to be anything, because I'm not seeing anything that's really causing any concern. But again, I don't see anything developing on the correlation coefficient here. So we'll go back to the dual view, and I'll check that every now and again. In fact, I think I might have that pulled up on another screen here, just so I can keep an eye on that over the next few minutes. I want to keep on the screen what you're familiar with so that you know what you're looking at. But I definitely want to keep an eye on this over the next few minutes. So I'm going to keep watching that here off to the side. Okay, well, I'm just kind of getting acclimated here to make sure that I have as much information, because again, it's very, very hard to get confirmation when everything is rain wrapped. So, but this is the area that I'm concerned about right in here. You see this very bright green that's met with those reds. That's the area I'm concerned about. And you can see that it is getting closer to the Maypearl area. So if you are in Maypearl right now, in or around Maypearl, please take shelter now, as this is really moving in your direction. That's what we're going to be. That's the area where we have the most concern at this moment. You see this tail and everything. We have very strong confirmation of rotation just on radar alone. And I don't see any signs of rotation coming in anywhere else. I'm not seeing any photographs of cloud lowerings or anything of that sort. So at the very moment, I don't see anything for sure. Okay. All right. So I'm okay. Sorry about the noise. Okay. So we definitely, in Northern Hill County, just a few moments ago, about 7 to 8 minutes ago in Northern Hill County, looks like we do have video of at least a wall or at least a funnel cloud. I can't tell if it's on the ground, but we at least do have a funnel cloud that does look to be mostly rain wrapped, and at the very tail end of the video, I can see that there does appear to be a little bit of a debris field on the ground. So I would say at this point, we definitely, again, and Matt, if you can just pin the YouTube link there, I know some folks are asking for that. So let's just go ahead and pin the YouTube link there if that's not done already. And so definitely looking at the very possibility of a tornado on the ground unconfirmed tornado just to the southwest of Maypearl, moving towards the Maypearl now. And Betty, you're asking why can you not hear the alarms? The outdoor sirens are not for you if you're in your home. That is not designed for if you are inside. So don't worry about if you're not, I'm telling you, if you're not outside, then you don't need to be listening for the sirens, because a lot of times they're not designed for areas when you're in your home. Not what it's there for. And we're going to continue to keep an eye on this area for the Maypearl area. You should be taking shelter right now, right at this very moment. You should be in that safe place in your home, because we do have an unconfirmed tornado on the ground near the Maypearl area. I would say we're about as sure as we can be without actually seeing anything happening when it comes to visual confirmation. Storm chasers actually looking. And Rachel, or let's see, Teresa, we're zoomed into Maypearl because Maypearl is the area that's under immediate threat right now. We will broaden this and follow this storm as we go. In fact, we can move a little bit further north. There is Venus, of course. Midlothian is to the north. Let me zoom out a little bit though, because if you're in the Midlothian or Waxahachie areas, you need to be prepared to take shelter. You don't need to take shelter right at this very moment, but because this could be moving up towards that area, if you're in Midlothian or Waxahachie, I would be prepared to take shelter over the next several minutes. Because right now in the Maypearl area, that is where we have the primary concern right this very minute. That's where the rotation is the most intense, and that's where we could very well have a tornado on the ground. And we don't have any updates to the right here when we're actually watching for an update to the velocity view here. I'm not getting that update. I'm not really sure why that is. And I know that I'm seeing a lot that the TV stations are not covering this. That's why I do what I do. I'm not at all surprised. So that's that's why I'm here. I definitely understand that. Okay, I'm not getting anything on the velocity view. Let's actually, I think we might have to switch over to another radar product here, because I don't have time to wait for radar scope to get its act together. Okay. Let's go ahead and move over to Radar Omega. This is a different view, and this is going to kind of change things up a bit. So from what I'm looking at on Radar Omega, it doesn't definitely look like the kind of very intense rotation we had just a few minutes ago. So this is the area that we're watching. Here's the rain-free base just south of Maypearl now, and here is the area of rotation. Really kind of, it's hard almost to tell at this point. I would say the rotation, this is probably the area that we're concerned about, just to the south of Maypearl. I think that's where we're going to be watching primarily. But the rotation does not look as intense. Now, we had the rotation earlier that fell apart, and then we're also now dealing with a second rotation here that does appear to be really falling apart. But just south of Maypearl, we still have decent enough rotation that we need to be paying attention to this right in this area. This is the area I'm concerned about, right just south of Maypearl, really moving into the Maypearl area. So if you're in Maypearl, you need to stay undercover. You need to make sure that you're staying safe in a safe place for the next few minutes. And let's go back over to let's go ahead and transition right back over to radar scope. This is really honestly the best view, and I think that's been rebooted now. That's going to work a little bit better. So no photographs or anything coming in at this point. I don't see any images of any tornadoes on the ground, so still not getting any ground confirmation necessarily of this rotation. But I'm definitely going to continue to watch this area. That's really the area I'm mostly concerned about at just this very moment. Okay, and it looks like it's taking a little bit of a, possibly a little bit of a right turn. Let's actually put this into motion here. And you can see as, okay, so it looks like this rotation, again, kind of moved off. You can see there, it kind of moved off to the northwest there and kind of fell apart. So it looks like we could be without the rotation at the very moment. But by no means does that mean that we're out of the woods here. All right, I think I've got some issues going on with, here we go. So this storm is going to continue to move off to the northwest, and though it does look like the rotation has kind of fallen apart for the next few moments, I really don't, I don't think that we're quite out of the woods yet. I think we need to continue to keep an eye on this storm as it moves off to the northwest, or northeast rather. We definitely need to be keeping view, because as we have seen over this season, number one, things are very unpredictable, and two, these circulations kind of ebb and flow. And it seems like we have sporadic audio issues. I'm not really sure what the situation may be in regard to that. It seems like some folks have it fine, some folks are really struggling. So I'm not sure what all could be happening in regard to that. But I want to make sure that we're getting the best possible feed to people. We want to make sure that everyone is aware. And I'm still not seeing any kind of photographs or view of this storm since it's been in Ellis County. The last we have actually seen of this storm, as far as a tornado or an actual rotation that is visibly confirmed, was in northern Hill County. So around the Itasca area, possibly to the northeast of there was some view as far as that's concerned. But nothing, really no confirmation since this storm has crossed into Ellis County. And we could still be dealing with some rotation. It's really broad right now, not anything too tight or focused in this particular area. And I know that there's power outages going on in western Ellis County under and ahead of this storm. So if you have lost power, hopefully your phone is charged well enough that you can continue to get this feed. But this is the area that I'm concerned about. It's right on top of Maypearl right now. So we don't have confirmation of a tornado on the ground right now. The rotation has weakened to this point. At this point, it's a weaker circulation. So I don't believe that we are dealing with a tornado on the ground at this point. I believe that we could very well have had one on the ground to the southwest of Maypearl, because the rotation intensified very quickly there and very intense, very tight rotation. But we're not now seeing that in this area. But the storm is not done, and by no means can we take a weakened circulation as any sign of really anything, because as we've seen multiple times, again, it will intensify and then it'll weaken, and then it'll intensify and then it'll weaken, and that sort of thing. So we could still be seeing, as I've kind of shown you before, could still be seeing some of that inflow. And if you look at this, where my terrible arrow, let me try to do this again. really you see this notch here, and that's where the inflow is going to be pushing into that storm, kind of pushing that rain back, and that's also where you see the brightest green. So that those inflow winds are still kind of blowing there, and that could still bring in enough inflow to cause rotation. So that's kind of the setup that we're watching right now to see if that inflow can again start to rotate and brighten up some of those colors. So if you're in this polygon right now, you're still tornado warned. This tornado warning still goes for about another 12 to 13 minutes. So you're not done by any stretch of the imagination. If you're in the Waxahachie area, in the Midlothian area, you need to be watching this storm just in case this rotation does intensify again, just in case we do have another warning come up, and we're starting to see these reds. Here we go. We're starting to see these reds increase. So as that happens and we see the greens increasing, we could have another focused area of rotation. So I'm going to continue to keep an eye on that over the next few minutes, because I do think that we could see the rotation in this storm ramp up again over the next few minutes. So we certainly want to keep an eye on that. Let me kind of give a broader view here of where everything's happening. Let's just do the regular view here and just kind of give context across the area where this is going. So this storm is headed towards the Waxahachie area right now. It does look like this will slide to the south of Midlothian, so I don't think that Midlothian is in an immediate threat area right now. The next area that really needs to be watching for this is Waxahachie. So that's where I'm concerned right now. So that you can see this storm, and it is starting to intensify again in the Maypearl area. So let's pause this again. Let's look at this again here. And we do have another, what could be another couplet trying to develop here. You see the reds and the greens. And that couplet is where you have the red and green right next to each other. And that's where the most intense rotation is going to be. So I know in Maypearl right now you're getting very heavy rain. It's going to be very, very hard to see anything out there, to actually see if there's tornadic activity happening. So and I'm being asked what part of Waxahachie. It's I don't have a specific area for you. Anywhere in Waxahachie needs to be watching this storm, because I can't tell you exactly where it's going to end up. Storms like this, by the time it moves into the Waxahachie area, we could be looking at it could take a right turn and move into southern Waxahachie. It could stay to the east of, or to the west of Waxahachie and move up to the north of that area. I don't have a projected exact track for you, because these storms oftentimes will kind of move on their own merits and go whichever way they choose to. So I don't have a specific part of Waxahachie that needs to be watching for this. All of Waxahachie at this point, if you're in Waxahachie, you need to be watching this very, very closely. This is just on the southeast side of Maypearl right now. That's where the rotation is. And I'm hearing something about a tornado in the Alvarado area. West of Midlothian. And I don't see any evidence of that, so I'm not really sure what that's referring to. So I don't see that Alvarado is under any particular threat right now. This is the only area where we have a warning that has been issued. Again, here's the polygon. This is the tornado warning. If you're in this area, you are still warned. So this will move up into the Waxahachie area. I don't have anything more as far as, I know a lot of people are asking about the Red Oak area. I don't really know for sure. If I had to guess at this point, it looks like it'll slide south of there, but I can't say for sure, because again, sometimes the tracks in these storms are very unpredictable. And as you can see, we're starting to get more hail in this storm, so it is beginning to ramp up. So if you're in the Maypearl area, if you're in the Waxahachie area, I want you to be watching very, very closely, because it does look like this is going to be another one of those storms that swells and then weakens and then swells and then weakens. So as we begin to see this storm start to swell up again, we could see another resurgence of the rotation in this area, in mostly east of Maypearl, headed right for the Waxahachie area. So if you're in Waxahachie, you got to be watching this. And the warning, this tornado warning goes for another 10 minutes here, about another 8 minutes here. And then we will probably see another tornado warning that will include the Waxahachie area. And I assume we're not hearing anything else on the radio. Not sure if any storm spotters are out there trying to get anything at this moment or not. It doesn't sound that way to me because I haven't heard anything. And I'm checking a few other visuals on radar just off screen here. Okay, so I'm gonna be watching a few different screens here, one off camera here. So just stand by. Okay. So, as you can see right now, okay, yes, we definitely have intensifying rotation in this area. We have a growing couplet, which again, that couplet is where we have the red and the blues coming together, and that's going to be probably our best indication that we do have rotation that continues to intensify. So this is going to be moving off to the northeast towards the Waxahachie area. So that's what we want to be watching. And I'm going to go ahead and let's try to get Radar Omega up here so we can get a better view of some of the roads. Try to get Radar Omega prepared for you so that we can bring you that view. Because at that point on Radar Omega, it's going to be a lot easier to show roads. And as we start getting into more populated areas, that's going to get more and more important. So let's go ahead and go to that view. Here we have Radar Omega. So you can see the circulation just off of FM 66 right now. So if you are at the Scarborough Fair area, then I really want you to be watching this closely and taking shelter at this moment. And okay, I have a video here from west of Waxahachie towards the Maypearl area, trying to get an idea of exactly what's going on. Okay, just give me a moment here to kind of review this footage that's come in. So I'm not exactly sure what direction I'm looking. So I've got a few things coming in right now. I'm trying to get visual confirmation of exactly what's out there. So if I go quiet here, I apologize. I'm trying to take in some additional information to get a better idea of what's happening. Looks like we have another tornado warning up in North Dallas. So I'm sure the TV stations will be covering that, but don't worry, I will stick with you. I will stay on Ellis County this whole time. WFAA and all those folks they have Dallas. I've got you guys here in Ellis County, so that's what we'll be watching very, very closely here. And I'm starting to get some imaging in from folks, some more views. Let's continue to watch this. Most of the Maypearl area, if you're in Maypearl or west of there, you're probably out of the area of rotation. The area that I'm most concerned about at this moment is right here, right off of FM 66. So this is going to be moving up 66. So if you're in the Scarborough Fair area, Scarborough Fair needs to be taking shelter immediately. If you're in the Scarborough Fair area, you are not safe. You are where this And I'm getting a lot of messages from folks in this area. So I apologize if I get quiet. I'm probably checking some information, checking a source of some information. This whole situation has completely evolved. Um, and it sounds like I'm getting some report that Scarborough Fair is closed early. That's good. Hopefully people can get out. If you are at Scarborough Fair right now, please get out. Evacuate Scarborough Fair. Hopefully you've already done that. But Scott, not sure why sirens are going off, but you don't need to be worried about sirens. Sirens do nothing, are not intended for you if you're not outside. So that's not what you need to be paying attention to. And when I talk about Scarborough Fair, the attendees themselves may not be there, but I know that the workers are often there in temporary living situations, RVs, that sort of thing. They need to be getting away. They need to be finding another place to stay as well. So they need to be going to a safer location because it is not safe in that area. So if you're in Scarborough Fair and you're one of the people that lives there, you need to be getting out right now. Okay, so I'm getting some more information here. Okay, Scarborough Fair is taking shelter. That's good. So what I'm concerned about at this point, and let me zoom out a little bit, is the area I'm concerned about is right in here. And you can see the green going in here. You see the red going in here. Could be a little bit of a more broad rotation in that area, but moving really right up 66 at this moment. So that's really what I'm concerned about. Going to be moving right towards I-35, and of course it was a tornado moving over the highway that caused so many issues when the tornado tracked south of Waxahachie, between Waxahachie and Forreston. So that's primarily what we're going to be watching for so closely is the possibility that this could be moving towards not only towards Waxahachie, but could be moving towards downtown Waxahachie right now. So here's Waxahachie over on the right, and here is that rotation. Let me kind of broaden this out a little bit more. This is the area that I'm concerned about. And that's going to be moving pretty much right up 66. So if you're in that area, that is you're right under the gun here. CC, we don't have confirmation at this point of a tornado on the ground, so we don't need to be talking about tornado sizes or anything like that. This is the area of rotation, moving really right up 66 towards Waxahachie right now. That's the primary area of concern that we have. Okay, I'm checking some more information here. So, yeah, we still got a fairly broad area of rotation right around the Maypearl area that is moving towards Waxahachie right now. Waxahachie getting heavy rain right now, but this area of rotation will be moving towards your direction. It does look like the existing tornado warning has been allowed to expire. I have not seen a new warning for Ellis County yet. I do expect we will probably see one. I imagine Waxahachie will probably be the focus of this tornado warning, but it does look like we do not have a new warning as of yet. But I will be watching very closely to see if that does indeed materialize. So we have two situations, one in North Dallas right now. And, for one, the Dallas storm is going to get a lot more attention than anything in our particular area. So you do need to be tuned in to Ellis County weather to get coverage of this rotation in the Maypearl area, just east of Maypearl, that's making its way towards Waxahachie. And as you see, the arrow's going right towards the center of Waxahachie right now. So this is not about what part of Waxahachie or where do I think it's going to be. We are looking at this possibly threatening the very center of Waxahachie here. So this needs to be paid very close attention to if you're in the Waxahachie area, from Neenah to Waxahachie to Sardis. This is all area of concern that we need to be paying very close attention to at this very moment. And again, I know that people are really concerned about not hearing sirens or anything. Sirens are on a different set of rules, so I don't control them. Sometimes I don't even understand them. It's all kinds of different rules that people run by. But don't concern yourself with whether you're hearing the tornado sirens or not. That is not your concern. Your concern is that you're watching, if you're in the Waxahachie area, that you're watching this very closely right now, because this is the area of rotation right around the Maypearl area. Again, as you can see, we have these, you can see the directions the winds are going right now, and this is where you get that rotation, right? So this is the area that's concerning me. It's going to continue to move off to the northeast towards the Waxahachie area. It's not as tight a rotation. It's a very broad rotation right now. Fortunately, we don't have any kind of confirmation of a tornado on the ground or anything of that sort. I haven't heard anything about any kind of damage. So we don't have, I don't have damage confirmation. I don't have confirmation of any injuries or anything. So we're going to have to just give everything a few minutes here. I'm just watching radar very, very closely. We're kind of in a waiting period right now. There's not a tornado warning for our area. There is not... we don't have confirmation of anything at this moment, but this rotation has been confirmed. We've had rotation that has, again, weakened and swelled and weakened and swelled. So we could be in a weak period where it could swell up again here in a few minutes. And for one, it sounds like radio is not listening to, or not, the storm spotters in this area are not very closely monitoring this. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get much information from the storm spotters. Very unfortunately. I'm trying to... So I've got a few videos, a few images coming in, so I'm going to review those very briefly. Some of these videos are hard to see because, again, the visibility sometimes has caused issues with being able to actually see what's happening. So on a rainy day like this, it's going to be tough. So I'm going through some comments and photos and just different evidence that's coming in. I appreciate folks that are sending that in. It's kind of hard to keep track of all of that, so I apologize if you're sending something in and haven't heard me mention it or something like that. Just give me some patience here. Again, we do not have any warnings that are currently in effect. No warnings currently in effect for Ellis County. But we're continuing to watch this rotation just east of Maypearl here to see if that's going to re-intensify into more circulation that could produce a tornado in this area. So okay, good news is we continue to let me just check something here. Okay. Getting a lot of a lot of images, a lot of videos. So let me try to review all of that. It's all coming in very quickly. Okay, so it does sound like Scarborough Fair is trying to keep everyone in cover. Okay, and it looks like we don't currently have any kind of, I don't see anything lowering from any of the photos that have been sent in. I don't see any specific lowerings in the clouds. So again, we could be looking at a moment where the rotation has subsided somewhat, but we're still seeing some very broad rotation west of Waxahachie. That's what I'm watching very closely at this very moment. Let's see what the latest update in the velocity view shows. Because if you follow the velocity view, this is kind of what I'm concerned about here. The fact that we could be looking at this inflow here and then opposing winds, and again, that's where you're going to get your rotation. That interaction between those opposing winds, that's what the red and the green is showing you here. That's that very broad rotation. When we start getting the brighter green and the brighter reds that are coming together, that's where it's going to be the tighter circulation. That's where you start seeing more signs of an actual tornado on the ground. And we don't have that in this area yet. And I know that the Byron Nelson is dealing with some issues right now as far as weather. So if you have to deal with that up there, hopefully you're staying safe there. But here in the Waxahachie area, I am seeing some brighter red colors here. So this is the area. It's a very broad area that I'm concerned about. It is moving towards the Waxahachie area. Let's put this into motion here. And not moving very quickly. But we could still be seeing some rotation, very broad rotation at this point, on the tail end of this storm. And nothing new on the radios at this point. And talk about another storm in the McLennan County area. So today has very quickly turned into a very interesting day, whereas it wasn't before. Looks like we do have winds that are increasing west of Waxahachie. Okay, so we do have wind speed starting to increase west of Waxahachie. So if you're in the Waxahachie area, let's go ahead and take shelter at this point, just in case this rotation does intensify to the point where we could be dealing with more organized rotation. So if you're in the Waxahachie area right now, I want you to be taking shelter, as we could be seeing okay, I'm getting word from a storm spotter that is set up west of Waxahachie. And let's kind of get a closer look at where this rotation is at this moment. So it's still kind of really along 66 and 1446 here. So really where you see the red and the green coming together, that's kind of where the rotation is the most intense at this point. So this is the area that I'm watching very closely, west of Waxahachie. I don't believe we don't really have any kind of tight rotation right now. Nothing immediately indicating a tornado threat. But, and again, the tornado warning was allowed to expire. So we are not currently under a tornado warning right here at this moment. And we don't have, we don't really have, I guess, anything that would warrant a tornado warning right at this moment. We don't have that kind of tight concentrated rotation. So I'm getting word that there's a lot of cars sitting on 66, probably Scarborough Fair traffic. So I'm hoping that we may not actually end up seeing any tornadic activity out of this, because there's quite a few cars that are stuck on 66 that could be threatened by this rotation if it does in fact ramp up and cause a bit of an issue. Okay, so the latest radar update shows that we could still be just on the right here. We're still kind of dealing with this back end of the storm that could be capable of holding some rotation. And I don't have an update yet on the velocity view here on the right. But this is, again, this area where we see the greens and reds in a very broad rotating pattern here. That's where most of my concern is going to be. And I'm watching there's some footage that's come in. And it looks like we do have a bit of a lowering. Okay. Looks like we do have a little bit of a lowering. Okay, I'm sending a message back. Jackie Swanner, hopefully I'm saying that right. You're showing me a little bit of a lowering. If you can give me more information about where you're located. You're saying you're at Bearden Road and Alyssa Lane. And I'm not immediately familiar with where that is, but it does look like she was looking at a... it does look like she had a little bit of a lowering in the clouds. Okay, so all right, so I'm getting a storm spotter that's telling me that he is seeing some low level, some lowerings in the clouds in this area, and that's what I've been more concerned about. So, okay, I'm getting some more. Let me see. Okay. And I'm conversing with another storm spotter right now, and we do appear to be seeing, once again, we're seeing this increasing wind here, and we're getting more and more photos and video that appear to be showing some of that lowering right now in the clouds. So I'm going to continue to, and it does look like we're seeing kind of a notch developing just west of Waxahachie. So I think we could be seeing kind of a ramping up of the rotation here. So if you are in the Waxahachie area, go ahead, and I want you to, especially west of Waxahachie up to the Sardis area, really the any areas north of downtown or in downtown, really, uh, any part of Waxahachie should be taking shelter at this moment because we're kind of seeing another notch developing here, and then we're also seeing some increasing winds where the circulation could be as well. And I'm getting quite a bit of quite a few messages and things of different different views. So thank you everyone for sending that. I'm trying to keep up here. A lot of information moving in, but the main thing is that we need to be watching the radar here for any part of Waxahachie. Should be watching this feed very closely. If you're in the Maypearl area, then the circulation has moved to your east, so I don't think you have to be concerned at this point. But I am getting multiple reports of a lowering in this particular area, and again, we're seeing that kind of notch developing there. And I'm not seeing any new tornado warnings being issued for Ellis County at this point. But despite the fact that we're not warned, I do want everyone in the Waxahachie area to be taking shelter at this moment, just in case we do end up actually seeing another tornado warning issued. No warnings issued at this time. No warnings are currently effective for this area, but we're still seeing a storm capable of producing that rotation that is moving towards the Waxahachie area right now. And this area where, again, we have those greens and reds, that's where I'm concerned. That's where we kind of have broad rotation at this point. Not anything that immediately catches my eye, at least not at the moment. As this storm has shown, this can change very, very quickly. We went from a flood threat to very suddenly a tornado threat here, which is what caused me to initiate this broadcast here. But as you can see, here's 287. Here's I-35. And this is going to be heading, all of this, it's going to be heading right into the Waxahachie area. This could very well be moving right into the central part of Waxahachie. It could move further north up towards the crossroads where 287 and 35 come together. Really, any part of Waxahachie right now needs to be taking shelter just in case we see this rotation quickly ramp up, and we very well could see that over the next few minutes. Okay, I'm checking a few things. I will go ahead and tell you that you folks that are watching me, you're actively watching me, not only me reporting all of this stuff, but I'm also actively researching it as well. So you're kind of you're watching me researching all of this as well. So hey, you got to give me a few moments. When I get quiet, usually that means I'm reading something, researching something, trying to understand something. Julie, Loud Thunder off Brown Street. Yeah, I'm not far from Brown Street, so I'm definitely I'm there with you. I'm hearing it as well. So here's the area of concern, right in here, kind of a broad area, moving right towards Waxahachie right now. And those that are having audio issues, it doesn't look like that's within my control from here. I would say try to restart the stream or go to YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube is probably a better place to actually go and follow the stream, because the YouTube stream is generally going to be a little bit better quality. So that's my recommendation right at this moment. Okay. All right, just a moment here. Okay, let me review some video I'm seeing here. And it does look like we have some lowering. Everyone, please hold tight. Let me review some footage I'm watching here. Getting a lot of video and images here. I want to try to get as much visual as I can. Because we don't have storm spotters out in the field at this moment, for the most part at least. There is one that is sending some information. But the other thing that I'm hearing from out in the field is that if you're outside, that the cloud to ground lightning is very dangerous in the storm as well. So that alone is enough reason to be going inside. So we don't have any current warnings at this time. And I know somebody in the chat is talking about that. We don't have any warnings at this moment. But the reason I'm concerned about this storm is because we're dealing with a storm that very quickly turned into a tornado threat from not one at all. So that to me is evidence that this storm can start to increase in intensity very quickly, and that we could have a tornado threat very quickly. And there does appear to be more and more confirmation of some lowerings that are going on. And I'm trying to kind of keep up with your messages and everything, and I appreciate everyone sending that. But just make sure that if you are sending that kind of stuff, that it's done safely, and that we're not, you're not putting yourself in danger just to get a look at this thing, because there is plentiful cloud to ground lightning that can do just as much damage, if not more, than any other mode of severe weather. So moving right into the Waxahachie area right now, this is the area. It's getting a little bit more compact here, and again, we're possibly looking at this kind of notch here, and part of what concerns me is that we could be dealing with more inflow from this area. That's a really bad drawing. Let me try that again. That we could be dealing with more inflow here, and then that's bowing out. You see how this is bowing out here? That's going to bring more wind in from the other side, and that could cause rotation to increase, and we're still seeing some of these opposing winds kind of dancing here just west of Waxahachie. So we don't have the kind of rotation that's prompting a tornado warning at this time, but we do still have sufficient rotation to warrant watching this particular storm. So that's what we are working on at this very moment right now, is we're not dealing with an active tornado warning. We're not dealing with any kind of certainty as far as anything on the ground or a specific wall cloud or anything like that. But it is sufficient enough for me just to kind of keep an eye on this as it does begin to move into the Waxahachie area. Again, rotation does appear to be very broad at this point. Not anything really compact, and definitely not confirmation rather of a tornado on the ground. That's not what we're seeing at this very moment. So let's continue to watch this. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and this is still to the west of Waxahachie. Okay, here's 35. Here's FM 66. Here's 1446. So this is what I'm watching. This area right in here where you see this kind of tail that's kind of bowing out. This is the area that I'm watching right now. So just off to the west of Waxahachie. Okay, so still not seeing anything really tight that's confirming any specific area of strong rotation. Still a broad rotation here. Again, no tornado warnings at this very moment, but that does not mean that cannot change here in the next few minutes. And I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to get. I've got a segment to film today. Not entirely sure when I'm going to get that filmed, but that'll have to get done today sometime soon. But we're going to make sure we keep an eye on this storm as it moves through. And if one of two things happens, if it weakens away and we don't have any kind of rotation at all, then that's one thing. But if we're okay. All right, so checking more of your messages here. I know a lot of people are sending in pictures and video and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to keep trying to check those. Okay. All right, so we're still, as far as radar is concerned, we're still looking at a fairly weak, fairly broad rotation. Okay, and we do have a storm spotter in the field, Brian Stevens, that is just one moment. Okay, Brian Stevens is in the field. He's watching the possibility. He's actually got eyes on the rotation. He says that there is still broad rotation. That's kind of what is confirmed by radar. And I'm looking, and it does look like we're looking at a very rugged lowering at this point. Not anything too immediately concerning. But I do, in one photograph, I am seeing a little bit of a lowering. Okay. So from what I am seeing right now is that we could still be seeing some rotation here, broad rotation, just west of 35. So that's, I think that's what we're watching, just with the winds, just judging by what we're seeing there. Could still be seeing some broad rotation. And could be, it sounds like we have possibly a lowering right now. And I've got someone that is in the particular area of the well, it was in the area of the rotation that showed a slight lowering, nothing too distinct at this point. I'm checking to see, and we still don't have a warning at this moment. Okay. No warnings currently active for Ellis County. Let's do a broader view so you can kind of see what we're dealing with. I know a lot of new people are probably jumping in. This is a storm that we're watching right now. This storm right over northern Waxahachie. The area of concern is right here off to the west of Waxahachie there. And this storm is moving off to the northeast. but it looks like this area where there could be rotation is kind of taking a right turn, which sometimes can be a concern when it comes to, oh, sorry about that, could be a concern with intensifying rotation. Because anytime it takes that right turn, that generally means it's starting to circulate a little more tightly. I don't see that on radar at this moment, and it does look like wind speeds in the area of concern are reducing at this point. So I think we are okay just for now, but I don't believe and Steve Elam, I'm not sure what information you're giving here concerning Waxahachie, but I can tell you that we're still watching somewhat broad rotation really over western Waxahachie, really moving into the Waxahachie proper area right now. So this is still the area that I'm concerned about. Again, nothing tight, nothing distinct, no distinct rotation at this moment. It does look like the circulation has been reducing slowly but surely over the next few minutes. So I'm not too terribly concerned about it at this point. Again, we have a new update here in the Waxahachie area, so it does look like this rotation is weakening very quickly. So it looks like at this moment, and it could be that some of the energy of this storm is being kind of taken out by some of this activity back to the west. So that could be what is actually zapping this storm over the Waxahachie area. Looks like east of Waxahachie right now, over in south of Brown Street and east of 287 here, could be looking at a little bit of hail in that particular area. But we're still going to be watching the southwest corridor of this storm, where we have seen a history of rotation. Fortunately, we are not looking at any warnings right now. No warnings in this particular area right now. But we've had the history of rotation. Okay. We've had a history of rotation with the storm, and to go back on the issue that I was watching before the tornado warning was issued earlier, this is really causing a concern for flooding, as we are going to be dealing with flooding over the next several days. We are dealing with flooding right now, and the worst part about that is that we're going to be seeing more and more rain over the next 6 days at least. We could very well be dealing with it for the next week or so. So we actually do not have any alerts at all. Okay. And Reed Timmer is reposting tornado footage as if it looks like that was several minutes ago. So don't be concerned about that if you're following him. I know a lot of people do. Not a big concern. I'll just take a quick look here. Okay. All right. So it does, after I've been able to check a few things, it does look like the rotation has died down here. And I've got a storm spotter in the field saying that the rotation is definitely kind of falling apart here. He's looking on 35, looking up towards this area, and it does look like the rotation has died down. Still a pretty powerful storm, plenty of heavy rain, but excuse me, it does look like we are out of the woods as far as the rotation is concerned. I think we're good to go in that regard, because it does look like this storm, the rain further off to the west, has kind of choked out the rotation in this particular storm. So I think, finally, I can say with some certainty that the rotation has kind of fallen apart, and we're not that we're not going to be dealing with that for this particular area in the next few minutes. So I appreciate everyone kind of hanging around here. I know it got chaotic and crazy for a few minutes. I'm getting headache myself, so hopefully today I'll get to rest a little bit because this is going to be a very long week. We have quite a bit, and you'll see that in the weekday outlook that I'll be posting at some point today. So let's get into, let me just check a couple other things here. And it looks like I've received some donations here, and I never really actually on air thank people, so I'd like to, if I can do that. Man, it is really raining here. So just for one, let me just tell you that we've received 2.3 inches of rain today. That's today. We got a lot to go. We could receive another 4 or 5 inches of rain. So, over the next few days, by the end of the week, another 4 or 5 inches. So take that for what you will. Rachel Ray, I appreciate your donation today, and Kathy Savage as well. Thank you for your very, very generous support here. I can't. See, I can't see stars here. I'm not in the right interface, so I think. Thank you. I guess I'll just say thank you to everyone who is sending stars at this point. Because all of you are, people that give me support are just amazing. Alma Ross, thank you for your donation that just came in. And it's hard to keep up with all of this. It's a good problem to have. People love you when there's donations coming in. You're having trouble keeping up with all of them. That's fantastic. Thank you all so very much. And Amanda Sidler, you're asking if it's safe to head into Waxahachie for recital. I think you're good to go. Just be careful with. Really, the problem now is going to switch back over to the heavy rain. So I think that's going to be. What we're kind of dealing with in Waxahachie for the next few minutes. The visibility, there's been some visibility issues in this area, definitely where the rain is heaviest. Really the heaviest rain right now is, let's go ahead and get rid of this velocity view here, as we're not really going to be seeing anything there. The heaviest rain at this point is south of Midlothian in the let's get back, there we go, the Mountain Peak area. And then from Waxahachie to Pecan Hill and Rocket, that area heading over to Palmer right now, some of the heavier rain as well. And we fortunately, the rotation that we were watching very closely, it does look like that has diminished. So we had this cell off to the west, and if we put this into motion here, you can see the Hoogago where it kind of starts to fall apart. This storm off to the west kind of choked out that rotation, and fortunately was able to kind of it kind of just took it down, which is a good let's see here. Let's get a broader view. I'm trying to keep up with comments here, but man, they're flowing in fast. That's why I have Matt, and that's why I'm glad Matt is here. So this is what we're dealing with. Let me just do a real broad view here. And again, we've been dealing with rain for a while, really all day. And when this tornado warning was issued, that completely changed the whole ball game. But we have the storms moving through Waxahachie and moving into the Ferris area right now, the heaviest rain. And then we have more rain from Weatherford down to Glen Rose, all the way down to Waco, just more moving in. Fortunately, off to the southwest, it looks like we might get a little bit of a break. But see, that's what I was thinking when we had this tornado develop. So I'm going to have to be watching this all very closely. And yeah, the tornado threat for Ellis County has wrapped up here. We're not, fortunately, we're not dealing with anything in this particular area right now as far as severe weather. Biggest issue now is going to be flooding. Now, worst case, I will be watching the possibility of more severe weather later today. Today was not expected to be a major severe weather event by any stretch of the imagination, but that's what it turned into, so that's what we rolled with. I will say for the moment, moving into the South Ferris area, let me just kind of take a moment to check this over in the Palmer area. Okay, doesn't look like we're dealing with any rotation in that area, I don't think. I'm going to continue to watch that because, as you can see, we're getting kind of a notch there. For the most part, though, in the Trumbull area between Ferris and Palmer, could be looking at some hail in the next few minutes. Laurie Mosley, looks like you sent in a donation. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Just one moment here. Okay. Yeah, so we're looking at Palmer now. Just in the last few moments here, we've had some circulation possibly develop there. Getting word of a possible lowering in that area. We've seen this cell kind of intensify here. This was where we had the initial rotation, northwest of the Waxahachie, northeast of the Waxahachie area, sorry. Now in the Palmer area, we're hearing word of a possible lowering in that particular area. So that's what we're watching right now. Is in the Palmer area. We're gonna start watching this more closely. See if I can see anything here. I'm trying to get see if there's any kind of view of what's going on in Palmer right now. I'm not quite getting anything at the moment. Okay. All right, just a moment here, everyone. Jessica Diaz, I appreciate the donation there. So let me ask: is anyone in the is anyone in the Palmer area at this moment? Are you seeing that circulation? Are you seeing a lowering at this point? Because that's what we're getting word of here. And if you'll excuse me, I'm trying to take some medication for this migraine that's developing here, because it looks like I might be here for a minute. So word of a lowering, getting more and more information on that in the Palmer area. And what I want to make sure that we're avoiding is that sometimes you're going to get a lowering, and that might be a shelf cloud that looks really low, but may not necessarily be a tornado or a wall cloud itself. So we want to make sure that what we're looking at is really what's happening. And I'm seeing people talk about a tornado in Palmer. If let's try to not use that kind of terminology unless we're sure. I'm looking to see if there's any kind of visual confirmation, and I'm not seeing anything. Just one moment, everybody. Okay. Trust me. You don't want me to have a full-fledged migraine on this stream. You want me to be as sharp as possible. But hearing more word of rotation in the Maypearl, or rather in the Palmer area, I'm so used to saying Maypearl now. This could be it, right in here. This could be where we're seeing this rotation. That's where we're seeing some of these opposing winds. Okay, let's see. All right, so I am looking here, not seeing anything visual. Okay. There's a lot in the chat here. Just one moment. Okay. Does anyone have any kind of video evidence or photos or anything in the Palmer area? Because there's a lot of chatter about something that just happened in the Palmer area, possibly very fast, a very brief circulation or something of that nature. And for one, I'm going to say that there's a lot of clouds that might look like tornadoes that may not necessarily be tornadoes. So I want to be careful what I say here. And the wording of a lowering, an intense lowering, did come from the radio. But it looks like whatever was there may have very quickly weakened or flattened out there. I'm getting a lot of noise right now, not a whole lot of clarity. And Rachel Amir, I understand you have a source, but I have to confirm with multiple things. So don't be offended if I don't immediately take yours for gospel. It takes quite a bit to convince me, and when I'm broadcasting, I have to be very careful with what I'm willing to say is confirmed. So it takes a lot to confirm some things. All right, so it doesn't look like anyone has any kind of photo evidence or video or anything of that nature to share at this moment. Hopefully, we'll get a updated view of radar here in a moment. Okay. Yeah, there's still a lot of chatter, a lot of noise. Hearing that whatever lowering there was is probably receding at this point. So I think... Okay, just one moment. Okay. All right, so looks like we're having some communication challenges here. So looks like any kind of circulation in the Palmer area may have weakened. So that's the good news. All right, I'm getting some visuals from Palmer here. And make sure when you send your videos and pictures that you notate where you are and which way you're looking. So let's try to give me as much detail as you can about location, because that's going to help immensely. Okay, so I'm getting some video now of the Palmer area, and there is definitely some lowering there, a lowering in that particular area, but I'm hearing that that has since receded. But if this is what we're looking at in the Trumbull area, then that rotation is at least still there. So we could still be looking at rotation in the Palmer area. From what I'm hearing, it almost definitely... Okay, so... Yeah, had a definite wall cloud in the Palmer area. Okay. So I'm hearing that I'm getting from Neck Road in Palmer, getting views of very low clouds, very much a lowering. And Lynn, you're talking about Wichita. This is not Ellis County, Kansas. This is Ellis County, Texas. So I think you may be looking at the wrong Ellis County here. So, this is, it looks like we could still be dealing with some lowering in the Palmer area, looking north of Palmer. So I think this is where we are dealing with that rotation right now, right along I-45 here. I think that's what we're going to be looking at for the next few minutes. That's going to be our area of focus. So right in here in the Trumbull area, and there's heavy rain there, so anything that is going on could be rain wrapped. From what I'm seeing, though, it looks pretty easy to see. Looks like we could still be seeing a bit of a rugged circulation here, a rugged lowering in the clouds. Okay, Park Hill in 45. Looking north, that there is still a lowering there, but it does look a little more rugged. And I'm not sure, Len, Len, I'm not sure what you're referencing here. This is Ellis County, Texas, so I'm not sure what area you're talking about there. It's probably not relevant to this area. So I think the lowering that we have been seeing over the last few minutes in the Palmer area is just south of Trumbull. And right now, probably with the delay of the radar, and it's going to be delayed a few minutes, we'll probably get an update pretty fast, probably on the east side of the Trumbull area, headed over towards the Walnut Springs area, about to cross 660. So that's probably the primary area of concern at this moment. I know, and it looks like Rachel Ray and Allison, thank you for your financial support. That means a lot to me. Quite a crazy day, so I appreciate the support that you're showing right now. So again, this is what I'm concerned about, and over the next few minutes, we'll see a little more. We'll see another update on the radar, hopefully in a few moments. If not, that'll mean that the radar has again locked up on me. May actually have to see if we can get a better view from radar scope. I think a lot of these radar programs are just having a hard time keeping up. Okay. All right, let's switch over to radar scope here. One of these days I'll find a radar that can put up with the stream here, because my goodness, between these two programs, they just kind of lock up on me. Seems like it's hard to keep them updated. So I'm going to continue to check out. I've got so many messages coming in. Okay, I've got another video. I've got another video here of a definite lowering. Okay, so I'm getting, so this is from looking at a view from 875 in McAlpin, and then another view in Palmer looking up to north towards Trumbull. That is definitely rotating. Now what I'll say is that it does look like, okay, so I'm looking at video from the Trumbull area. Okay, I am watching video from the Trumbull, from Palmer, looking north towards Trumbull, and definitely about 10 minutes ago, definitely a rotating wall cloud here with some scud clouds that are pretty close to the ground. Good night. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put... you'll excuse me here. Let me go ahead and show you this. This is about 10 minutes ago, just so you can kind of see what we're talking about. This is about 10 minutes ago in Palmer looking north towards Trumbull. Looking at the radar, it does look like this rotation has kind of decentralized, but just look at this. This is from Palmer looking north towards Trumbull. This is that lowering we were looking at just a few minutes ago. I don't see anything that suggests there was an actual tornado here. I don't see any of those columns that look to be... it definitely doesn't look like those are actual condensation funnels hitting the ground. That's called scud clouds. And scud clouds are... that's where you have the condensation that's moving northward into... See if you can see the... Yeah, so here... I don't think this is tornadoes hitting the ground, but that's scud clouds. That's where it's that updraft pulling that condensation up into the cloud. That's what's fueling that rotation and fueling that updraft. So this is from Palmer about 10 or 12 minutes ago in the Palmer area looking north towards Trumbull. So this is that rotation that we were looking at. I'm not really sure. People are still talking about audio issues. I'm not sure what's contributing to that, because again, it is what it is. Some people are saying everything's fine, some are not, but definite wall cloud, and this is very obviously rotating in that particular area. So this was about 10 or so minutes ago, north of Palmer. So that's what was being watched at that time. That's the lowering that people have been talking about. And I'm sharing this because that was probably the best view. That was the best view we've had. Now, this is another view looking at that lowering. And this looks to be... That looks to be west of Waxahachie at the super collider. Now, let's go ahead and get back to. Let's go ahead and get. Let's go ahead and get back to the radar here and kind of take a broader look at what's going on across the area. And it's a little hard to see velocity at this very moment. All right, so I've got some new video here. And this is off to the west of, I believe this is off to the west of Waxahachie. Okay, so I'm hearing that west of Waxahachie, looking north, there is a bit of a lowering as well, and unfortunately, it's hard to tell. Something's going on, distorting the radar, the velocity view here. So it's a little hard to see, but there are still some definite lowerings there. Okay, I want to make sure that we're keeping in mind this cell as well to the west of Waxahachie. Looks like the rotation in the Ferris and Palmer area, looking north of Palmer, has subsided. It does look like it's been, that has kind of weakened, but now I'm getting some video from this storm between Midlothian and Waxahachie that we're looking at a definite lowering there. And I'm getting more and more of that. So I'm getting more views from 1446 west of Waxahachie, looking north up towards the Midlothian area. And it's hard to see anything from the velocity view. We've got something that's kind of distorting the velocity view here. But I am seeing a little bit of possibly some red and green in this particular area. Okay. So I'm going to keep watching the posts that we have here. Seeing more of a definite lowering west of Waxahachie right now. And I don't know for sure how strongly this is rotating. Again, we have some distortion on the velocity view here. Just one moment here. Okay. I'm sorry. I've got a lot of different, messages coming in. So let's try to get another view. Try to get a view of what's going on west of Waxahachie right now. Okay. Got a lot of different videos and things coming in. And I know there's a lot of trees that are kind of getting in the way here. And it does look like right now, if we have any concern at all, it's going to be in this particular storm. Right here between Midlothian and Waxahachie. Okay, so everybody give me a moment to breathe here. Let's chill out on the messages. We're starting to get they're starting to get a little bit much. So let's kind of chill out with the messages. If you have specifically video, then we can roll with that. If not, let's kind of chill out the messages here because I'm getting a little too much. If the computer crashes, we're all done. Okay, I know Matt has he is getting some visual on the lowering right now. This is a lowering between Midlothian and Waxahachie. We have kind of shifted focus here, and I'm gonna be whoop. Well, there we go. Okay, yeah, we're gonna. I think we're gonna start having issues with. Um, and Chloe, we don't have confirmation of a tornado right now. Um, yeah, the radar's going down because the number of Facebook messages I'm getting is just about messing things up. So let me recalibrate here. We just lost the radar. Okay, here we go. So I think this is the area of concern here. We see a little bit of a notch. And there's a lot of visual right now on what appears to be some sort of a lowering in the Midlothian area, between Midlothian and Waxahachie, probably right around the Sardis area. Okay, so Matt, the moderator, is going to try to get some video of this. Okay, there we go. I apologize for that. We lost the radar, and then I had to try to make sure that we were recalibrated and everything before I put that back on the screen. So this is what I'm watching right now. Possible circulation with a definite lowering in that area. So we could be seeing some more detailed circulation. And Matt is going to try to get some visual on that. Okay, I've got quite a few messages coming in. And it does appear to be that we're getting some pretty decent rotation at this moment. And I'm going to see if we can actually get some live views. Maybe we can get a live view of let's see. Maybe we can get a live look at the rotation. We're gonna see if we can work on that. But this is the area I think that we're mostly watching for rotation. It's going to be this cell, and there's not confirmation of a tornado or anything. So I'm hearing that the rotation may very well have reduced a little bit. So I think that we may be out of the woods there. And I think overall, in the... I think what we're probably dealing with is sometimes you have these cold air funnels, and they're not always associated with a tornadic circulation. Sometimes it's just going to be a matter of sometimes it's going to be a matter of just it looks like a tornadic rotation may not always be. We're not under any tornado warnings at this point. Let's get a broader view and kind of give you an idea of what's happening over these few minutes. So you have more and more showers developing, which is good because when we have more competition between storms, that's usually going to choke out any kind of rotation that we might have and reduce the chances of seeing any tornadoes or anything. I don't see anything in particular interest with any of what's developing right now. We're going to continue to see more rain over the next few minutes. Right now at the Jimmy Porch Real Estate Weather Center, I have 2.85 inches that's fallen so far. So we could hit 3 inches today, and we could see another 4 to 5 inches, 4 4 to 5 inches over the next several minutes, or several days rather. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here. I've got to go take a breather because I've got a headache that's trying to take me down. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up briefly, and let's go ahead and take a break, take a breather. And I'm going to make sure that I'm continuing to watch all of this activity because, again, we've been dealing with quite the crazy event over the last several minutes, last hour or so. So I'm going to continue to watch all of this. I'm going to try to film the week in perspective segment that I've been trying to get to really all day. But boy, this storm system today decided to throw us a big curve. So let's see. I've got a lot of messages and things to go back through as well. So let's go ahead and wrap up this stream. I will bring more updates over the next, really over the next several days. Again, we're just getting started with this active pattern. So hopefully over the next few days, things will calm down a little bit. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and we'll wrap up the stream, and I'll bring more updates if needed through the day, through the week. So be looking forward later on today for that weekday outlook, that segment that I do every week. I'm not really sure if I'm actually going to do the stream at 7 o'clock to talk about the week. We probably will, but who knows? We may actually be doing more live coverage throughout the day. So stay tuned to Ellis County Weather as we continue to monitor the storms